Hey guys, Herman from Alpha One here. Today I wanted to talk about shooting from retention, how we drill it, how we teach it. So we're coming off of the Concealed Carry Combatives course with Tony Blauer a week ago, and this topic came up, and I thought it would be value added if I made a video about it, as opposed to just assuming that you're going to show up to a class where we talk about this and you would hear my rant in a Defensive Pistol 2 class where we do some of that retention shooting stuff. And so I just thought it would be value added if people that maybe haven't trained yet or haven't done something like this before to understand the proper context, because I believe that most people don't teach it in the proper context, or at least teach it incorrectly that way. So no matter how sound the technique is that they teach, like I said, the way that they teach it might end up getting people in trouble. So first off, what's shooting from retention? When we are in a very close, compressed situation where we have an attacker that is close enough to touch us, then when we shoot from retention, that refers to going to the holster, getting the pistol out, and putting rounds on target under those conditions. So I need to be very compressed, pistol as far back as it can so that they can't reach it, and still being able to get rounds on target on my attacker without a full extension, sight picture, or any of those type of things. So there's a bunch of different techniques that you'll see out there. A lot of them sound, but like I said, the most important thing is the context. Why do I see an issue with the context that these techniques are taught in? Well, because if you're just watching someone do this on video and it looks pretty flashy and it's pretty cool, and the people that get really good at it really fast, it looks pretty impressive. But the problem is that most people watching, or even in an actual class, the student might come away thinking that the best time to introduce the weapon in a fight would be when you're that close to your attacker. So all you need to do is get super good, super fast, and you'll be able to outdraw that punch that's coming at your face, or that bat that's coming at your face already. And that's just not likely. That's a less than 1% chance of you being able to do that, almost no matter how fast, how good you get at it. So that, to me, is just improper instruction. So what we need to do is understand what context, or what are the situations in which you might have to deploy your pistol from concealment when you're that close to someone. And the reality is, there are very, very few. And so the point in this is being that, in my opinion, this is not where the fight starts. Now, the fight might start there, the bad guy might start the fight there, but I might not start my deployment of the complex tool in that context. I'm going to have to find a way to get to a point of control and domination if I'm going to be able to get to a point where I can deploy my complex motor skill or complex tool into the fight. And that's what we teach in Spears, basically bridging that gap. So instead of thinking that I'm going to be able to effectively deploy some very fancy complex motor skill or complex tool, I'm just deluding myself. I need to use something that's primal and that's gross motor skill to weather the ambush, survive that initial attack, create a time, space, and opportunity to get to something that's more complex. And so what I tell people is, I'm not going to start the fight there by going to my weapon, because it's probably going to end up being taken away from me. And so what is the proper context then when I might be shooting from that compressed situation here? Well, it might be, most of you are aware of the 21-foot rule, and that's a benchmark that was set by the FBI many years ago about how fast someone, or what's the longest distance that someone can clear inside of draw times, 1.52 second draws, and that distance is 21 feet. So if someone just bum rushes you from 21 feet calculating with your average reaction time coming out of the holster, that person's going to be able to cover that amount of distance and be on top of you. So I might find myself in a situation where, as I'm drawing, someone closes that distance, and we do end up in a situation that we are very compressed and now have to defend myself there. And that's a different thing altogether than if we're just standing here, we're having a discussion, things heat up, and someone goes to punch you in the face. They try to then go for a tackle, or they draw their weapon or something to that effect. That's probably not going to be the best time for me to go directly to my pistol. And again, the best thing about concealed carry is the fact that I know that I'm carrying a gun. Nobody else knows, and I get to choose and under what circumstances I introduce the weapon into the fight. Now, it's a very different topic altogether when we're talking about people like, for instance, law enforcement that have exposed carry. They have an external rig outside the waistband, and that's also why they carry holsters that are level 2, level 3 retention and that kind of stuff. Everybody knows that they're armed. Everybody knows where the weapon is, so it's a different consideration altogether. I'm talking about just regular, responsible armed citizens that carry concealed. I get to choose when I get to the pistol, when I introduce the weapon into the fight. So that's why it's important to get some combative skills and to drill and train other things other than just shooting. That's what we did last week with Coach Blauer. It was an amazing time. So definitely search out good instructors that will kind of help you bridge that gap, because it's very, very important. It's an essential part of your combatives and personal defense, personal safety training. All right, so I hope that helps. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you next time.